Now, one thing that I do have a lot of lenders say when I tell them that, hey, I don't collect monthly payments, is they say, well, what about your investors? Aren't you obligated to give them, a monthly dividend? And in most cases, yes, I set up my fund in a way that I don't actually have to do that. And it all comes from just setting investor expectations up front. So when we take on a new capital investor, I tell them, hey, FYI, our debt fund is set up in such a way that our borrowers only pay us interest at the completion of a project. And a lot of them get that, instinctively, like, hey, you start this project, it's short term. Once it pays off, then you get your interest as well. And so I tell investors, you're not going to get monthly payments, but we are going to stagger you through multiple projects. So typically, if, say someone comes and brings $100,000 as an investor, we'll get them spread across 4 or 5 different projects so that these projects just kind of stagger intuitively, so that, even though it's not really monthly payments exactly on the dot every single month, you might have a project that pays off within 3 weeks, or you might have another one that pays off, 6 weeks later. And then you might have another one that pays off in 3 weeks. And then you have another one that pays off, in 8 weeks. So it's not like they're going the full 6-month term without receiving any payments, because I wouldn't like that either. As an investor, you want to feel like you're making progress. You want to feel like you're collecting funds. And so that's how we choose to do it. We just set the expectations up front, say, look, you're going to get payments, but it's not going to be on a set regular schedule, because that puts me in a bind. And I don't want to have all of these obligations to these investors and be strapped for cash flow too, because that's not the kind of business that I want to run. I understand if investors don't want to work with us because of that, but we just don't choose to work that way. And thus far, it hasn't been a problem with our investors as long as we set those expectations up front.